Hello, everyone. This is Roomies Review the Movies. I am Lindsay,
I'm Maria.
and today we are reviewing Martin Lawrence. You So Crazy. Um,
Yes.
this is
Yes.
a stand-up movie that Martin Lawrence did back in 1994. Um, the the movie was during like the height of the TV show Martin being on the air and whatnot. They filmed this stand up and they put it out in theaters. So with this stand up, it's
Yeah.
yeah, it's not really a cast. It's just Martin.
Yeah. I
um,
mean, it's a comedy stand up. It's a comic
yeah,
and a mic in his best all leather baseball inspired monogrammed outfit.
yes, all black with Jodeci boots on.
Yes.
Yeah, the attire is very dated. I always looked at that attire and was like, that's a lot to be under those lights.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, isn't he? He's got to be so hot in that.
Yeah.
Because it's also, it's like this time, it's like baggy and everything, but it's
Hmm.
made out of leather. And I'm like, under those lights moving around, like,
Yeah. Yeah. It was a lot. At least I thought it was a lot.
yeah. I was like, he's got to be burning up.
Yeah, but that it seemed like that's his thing because in his other stand up that came out years later, Run Tell That he has on all leather in that one as well. So
Oh wow. I'm wondering if it was like a tribute to Eddie Murphy in some way, his whole red leather
right, the
get
red
up.
and the purple. Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know. That's a great question. Probably it probably has something to do with Eddie Murphy. Yeah, because but it didn't seem as much of an issue for Eddie Murphy as it did for Martin because Martin was sweating, but Martin's more of
Yeah.
a physical comedian than Eddie
Yeah,
Murphy.
Martin moves around a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
He
like
likes to
he's
act out.
right, like he's jumping all around way
Yeah.
more than Eddie ever did. So that that probably has something to do with it. But yeah, let's see. I don't know what theater it was. It was at the Majestic Theater in Brooklyn.
Okay.
That's where he filmed it. So, yeah.
So tell
So,
us about like what this stand up like how it impacted you, like when you first saw it, like what you thought of it and everything.
well, when it first came out, it was like a big deal, but I was too young to be trying to go see it, even though I probably would have. If my mom was into watching like stand-up films,
Hmm.
we probably would have went to go see it. But like years later, I ended up watching it on TV,
Hmm.
and everything was funny. But like Martin was like one of my favorites. Period. Like Martin could do no wrong. So um, with him, and then this pretty much solidified it for me once I watched it because it was just funny. Like from beginning to end, it was funny. And I've watched it so many times. I've owned the DVD and everything. Like this was one of the best stand up films I had ever seen. Like it's top tier.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah, and I probably at the time I probably seen only like a couple, like Eddie Murphy, of course, but yeah, but like I will put him up there. I will put him up there with the greats. Like of course, both of Eddie Murphy's, um, Kevin Hart, like the beginning Kevin Hart movies,
Yeah.
um, and Richard Pryor, of course.
Oh, Rich Pryor, yeah, he's a classic.
Yeah, so I would definitely put this up there with that. But yeah, so I mean, he at the time he talked about like several things that were going on at
Hmm.
the time. One
Yeah,
thing,
that's the thing of comedy. Like, it's very of the moment, you know.
right, right, and one thing that was like that they were on the heels of was the whole Rodney King situation that happened
Right.
out in LA. And
Yeah.
so, um, yeah, like, so at the beginning of the stand up, they're basically talking about Rodney King and whatnot. And just talking about racism, you know, how you, you basically, like, he has a bit where he's talking about how white people act one way when they think it's just you and a bunch of them,
Hmm.
and they turn around and then act a different way when it's a bunch of us and one of them. And so um, he has a
That
bit
was
where,
one of,
yeah,
yeah,
or
go, I'm sorry, go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna say that he has a bit where he's talking about like he's in a grocery store and he's asking somebody where the toothpaste is and how they are very condescending and very smart,
Hmm. Hmm.
trying to
They're rude
extremely
and
rude.
unhelpful. Right.
Right? He was just like, you just have to fucking read. It's
That's right.
toothpaste. Use your
Right.
mouths. But if it's a bunch of us and one of them, can you help us find the toothpaste? Now they're extremely helpful, extremely nice. Here, let me take you to it. Let's
Hmm.
go. You know.
Hmm.
So
I did
yeah.
like the way he talked about like social issues with his comedy, and like
Mhm.
he even goes like make and talks about slavery and everything. But he's able to talk about them and also make them funny without making them feel too heavy, right?
Right.
So he talks about it as a way to basically like release that tension and
Yeah.
that pressure for
Right.
everybody in his audience. Even though he says like I'm getting white fans now, he's like
Yeah.
and still keep it very black.
Right. Right. He was like, yeah, because he was like, we're going back to Africa. Ladies, pull out your titties.
Right. I was like, oh, okay,
Right. So yeah, that was a shocker and very in the like in the very beginning of it.
yeah. He talks a lot. I mean, a lot about sex in the stand up.
You think so?
Oh yeah. It's like 85, I want to say 85 to 90% of his jokes.
You think so? I don't think it's that sexual. Cause honestly, for me, like when comedians
Well,
start to talk,
it's not like raunchy jokes,
yeah,
right? He's not like they're not like a lot of raunchy necessarily, but it's a lot talking about sex. Period.
yeah. Cause see, like for me, when comedians get to talking about sex and stuff, I don't find those type of jokes funny. Like you got to be very skillful for me to laugh. But like at the stuff
Because
that he was
most folks
talking
just go for like the easy joke when it comes to it, but yeah.
exactly. But like with him and the jokes that he does have about sex and whatnot, they were pretty clever and pretty funny. Um, especially like back then. Like say for instance, like the next series of bits that he has is about jail. Now
Hmm.
that's some of the stuff that we still say to this day. Cause he was talking about how like he don't want to get he don't want to get the R word in jail.
Hmm.
And he was like, how can you talk to your mama after you've been R word? And mama was just like, just lock your ass, just clench it and lock it and break it off if
Yeah.
you have to. Because he was like, they'll just like do that to him for bragging rights. And yeah. And he was like, you can't go into jail talking talking mad shit in jail because you're basically be targeted for talking mad shit. so, so yeah, so that was a series of bits. I guess I guess that's kind of talking about sex right there, but
Yeah. That
yeah,
was like the first time he's like talking about it. And he goes on and he has the masturbation bit, and then of course he has the bit where he's talking about relationships. Um,
yeah,
and of course there are some sex jokes involved there too. And I was just like, dang, dude, okay, I get like, all right, I see,
yeah,
you know. But you know, it's my first time watching it, so a lot of things that he's doing now are like very tropey and like things you wouldn't do in modern comedy, like the whole black people do this, white people do that. People don't really do that anymore in
yeah.
stand up.
Right.
That was very like an 80s 90s thing, right? Because I
Mm-hmm.
remember like watching like a lot of Comic View and stuff, right? Because I
Mm-hmm.
didn't have HBO, so I couldn't get Def Comedy Jam, so Comic View on BET, you know. But there was a lot of that. That was really popular at the time. Um,
Right.
but you know, you've seen it like how many times since then? It's like, oh yeah, I remember when that was popular. Yeah, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
um, for
That's why
me, most of the
it's
time,
funny
mhm,
to look at it in these eyes since
mhm,
this is your first time seeing it. So it's kind of funny to
yeah,
get your commentary on it. But yeah.
mhm. It's
But
like
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
okay, I just got them. For me, it wasn't very funny for me.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I giggled a few times at about it. I watched it twice because I wanted to be like, okay, well maybe I'm just being too hard on it, right? Let me
Uh-huh.
just relax and watch it again, right? And I giggled a few more times, but it still just did not. I never really laughed, like never a full belly laugh or anything like that. Like, and I was just like, oh, okay. And I looked stuff up online, like because I'm always looking for like videos and stuff like that to get another perspective, right?
Mm.
There weren't really any. Well, there were actually there were a few, but they cut them up in like 7 parts. I'm not watching a 7 part react. That's not happening. You know,
Yeah.
um, but the only one that I found, he laughed, he enjoyed, and everything. I was like, well, I guess it's just not hitting my funny bone, you know, which is fine. Not everything is for everybody.
Yeah. So let
But
me
I
ask.
imagine if I watched it back then, I would have laughed more because I remember watching Martin and like enjoying Martin. But I also haven't watched Martin in a long time either, so I don't know how I would react to it today.
Oh wow, you haven't watched Martin in a long time.
Not since it was on TV, really.
Really? Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, because now that's one of the late night staples.
Oh
Like
yeah.
they play, yeah, they played on VH1 and BET.
Oh, okay.
And then they also did the 30th reunion on
Yes, I
BET
remember
Plus.
that.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that just came out a couple weeks ago.
Did you
And
watch it?
yeah, I watched it and it was really good. They really did a good job, especially dealing with Tommy Ford's death.
Mm.
So they really did a good job. It's just I mean it's interesting to hear your viewpoint because you are you are looking at it in 2022, which a
Hmm.
lot of the stuff that he says you can't say
Hmm. Yeah,
nowadays. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So yeah, like have you ever watched any of his stand up or anything like that?
No, I haven't. Right, because
Okay,
most of his stand up came out when we were kids,
right.
so and it would be on HBO or at the movie theater, so there was no way I was going to see it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because
Yeah, if it didn't come on BT, like you know, I wasn't probably wasn't going to be able to see comedy stand up as far as that's concerned,
yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So
you know, or Sinbad or something. You know, so.
yeah. Okay, so that's interesting. So this is like your first time seeing his stand up because like I said, I'm a
Mhm.
fan, so I've seen his stand up and I've seen him in person, his stand up. So
Mhm.
um
I like the way he can paint a picture of us of like the scene that he's talking about. Right,
yeah,
he's
he's a
really good at
great
that.
storyteller. He's definitely a great storyteller, and he does
Mhm.
that good. He does that very well in You So Crazy, especially when he's talking about
Mhm.
relationships. Like
Mhm.
he painted the week of
Right.
that relationship or whatnot. And so,
Yeah, that was probably the section that I liked the best.
yeah,
But she was like, "I need a little of your time," whatever. That whole part. That was probably the one that I liked the best.
right, right. Like there's a lot of quotes that we still say to this day. Like the mama said, "Lock my ass." Um, the part in the because he painted the picture about the masturbation bit. He painted
Yeah.
it very well about that, and
I was like, that seems very personal, Martin. Like, I feel like I know you a little too well right now. Like,
right, right, and it's just like so that's how it happens. Okay, it's not nothing planned. It's completely random. But like when he when he got the phone call, he was like, "Okay, well, let me go wash my hands." Like we still say that to this day. Um, when he's talking about the relationships and he's saying the fuck 'em dress,
mm,
we say that to this day. And then the fuck 'em girl, fuck 'em, fuck 'em girl, fuck 'em. Like we still say that. Um, what else? Oh, sorry, I had told Craig and them. We say that too. Like it's a lot of quotable stuff that we say in this movie to this
mm,
day. And this movie is almost 30 years old.
yeah.
Yeah, I cannot believe that the 90s was like 30 years ago. That's crazy.
No, it was 10 years ago. So. 10 years ago.
So
The
yeah,
70s was 30 years ago. Right.
right, right. Just like that means when you think of 30 years ago, that is true. You think of the 70s. You don't think of the 80s. So or the 90s
The
rather.
90s,
Yeah,
really.
because the 80s is 40. Godly. All right.
Hmm.
Now I'm really feeling old. So yeah.
Yeah, let's turn to dust. And
Yeah. Right. Right. So was there anything another yeah, this is one that we really do say a lot is the when he was talking about drinking and he was talking about how they take you like the cabs that come get you on New Year's Eve and stuff for free when you're drinking too much. When he was like,
uh, yeah. Uh-huh.
yeah, like I need to go to 445 Canaan Road.
This
Now
is another party.
you're right. Now we say 445 when somebody's like super toe up. That's
Hmm.
that's the code. Like we like, oh, you was 445 Canyon Road, So that one we say a whole lot too. Like it's a lot of quotable things in this. Um, but yeah. So what what bit stuck out the most for you?
It was definitely the relationship bit where the woman was trying to hang out with her man, and he's like, "Nah, I'm hanging out with Craig,
Hmm.
or whatever." And she asks him, what was it, twice at least, and he brushes her off, and then finally he decides he's gonna give her a little bit of his time, or whatever. And she's like, "No, somebody else got your time."
Hmm. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. And does that stick out for like personal reasons or is just the way that he told the story?
The way that he told the story,
Yeah.
I
The
love a
same.
good callback. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Right. Right. Like he does that well. That's the same for me as well because it was very very detailed. Um, that one and the one where he was talking about how you have oh, that's another one, crazy, deranged,
Hmm.
when it was the other side and the guy was crazy.
Yeah.
So we say that too, crazy, deranged. Um,
I did appreciate the whole like uh just kind of illustrating how like all the stuff that guy was doing in that skit. He's
hmm.
like red flag here, red flag there, like
Right, right.
hey, there's some red
Like he was
flags
awesome in
basically.
the beginning, but once he sinked his teeth into you, it was a wrap.
Hmm.
So yeah, yeah. I've never seen it personally. I've never had it done to me personally. Somebody coming up to me in the club with a robe on, talking about let's
Right,
go.
in pajamas and footies.
Right. I was like, I can't even believe they let him in the club looking like that.
Man, listen to that skit. For me, it was like, oh well, the first thing is that you feel like you need to ask him if you can go out. I was like, girl, no.
Right, right. Like I'm grown as a mug. Nobody's asking.
We're starting out from the wrong place right now. Right.
Right, right. Like
Like
this
in your
ain't
other skit, he wasn't asking her if he could go out. He was just saying, right.
yeah. So yeah, it was a lot of red flags in that skit, but some people do experience that.
Oh yeah, it's real.
Yeah, I ain't never experienced it, but and I've had a friend that actually was the guy in that skit.
Oh wow.
Actually, yeah, she actually pulled up, and she was pregnant and all, and she pulled up.
Oh, she pulled up on him.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yep. Yep. Big
Yep.
old belly and all. She pulled up.
Wow.
Like you better than me, because I would have just had to catch him when he got back. I wouldn't have left the house. But but yeah. So let's see. Um, so that was pretty much our biggest takeaway, was that how detailed he was with explaining, or like with painting a picture.
Yeah, I liked his capability of to tell a story. To paint a picture, right?
Hmm.
So you're basically seeing the same things, right, when he's telling the story. Very good. He's very good at that.
Yeah.
Um, but as far as like how funny it was, I wasn't really laughing or anything. But again, I don't know if I have like a very typical taste in humor or not. So, and also it's from 1994, right? So
Yeah.
um, culture has changed, comedy has changed, the way you even like do stand up has changed. So
Mhm.
um, that's definitely a barrier, right?
Mhm. Yeah, I don't think that he said anything that would people would be like, "Oh, he said this in 1994. Let's cancel him." I don't think he said anything like,
Yeah, I mean, people are
"Oh,
gonna be like, it's 1994.
yeah, yeah," but yeah, I don't think he said anything like that. But it is a couple things where it's like, yeah, he wouldn't be able to get away with this. Um,
Yeah, I mean, there are like some jokes that are ableist, and there's like some sexism in his jokes and stuff like that. But that's honestly to be expected from 1994.
yeah,
So
yeah, and from comedy period, you know what I'm saying? Like they are pretty mild nowadays when it comes to
mhm,
comedy, but I mean, you go in there expecting to hear something that you wouldn't normally say in regular settings.
mhm, mhm.
So, um, even in today's climate, they are pretty they are pretty conscious of today's
Yeah,
times, but some people still do push the envelope. So
yeah. It
yeah,
just depends on who it is. Like for me, my favorite comic stand up anyway is Hari Kondabolu, which he's not extremely popular, but he's my favorite. He's one of my favorites. So like
mm.
Michelle Buteau is really funny. Cheshire Zameda, Jessica Williams. Um,
I don't know any of those people you just named.
yeah, see, so that's how I was like,
Yeah, yeah. So do they have stand ups on Netflix or
yeah, they have
yeah?
stand ups. Yeah, they have stand ups. Some of them were on SNL. Some of them had like their own other TV shows. But yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. See, I don't know who I would say like in today's time is my favorite.
hmm
I probably don't have one
hmm
in today's time. Um, yeah, I don't think like anybody's my favorite because like at one point Kevin Hart was like king, but
hmm
it just seems like with every stand up he puts out, they're not good. Like
yeah, he
especially
hasn't been funny for a long time, and the thing is, like, I'm not sure. I think was he funny or was I just young? Because
I could go.
I remember him on Comic View.
Yeah. And I can go back and watch the first movie he did and the second one. The Seriously Funny is the second one, and then
Mhm.
the um the first one, I'm a Grown Little Man. Those two are classics. Like
Mhm.
you can't get no better than those two. I actually like I'm a Grown Little Man better. But um Laugh at My Pain was good. Let Me Explain was good. But it just seems like he's been on the decline ever since.
Mhm.
So, and this last one that he did in his house during the pandemic, that one was not good. And I
Mhm.
thought, yeah,
See, I like the one that Bo Burnham did.
you said what?
Bo Burnham, he did a comedy special from his house
Okay.
during the pandemic, like it's like reflecting on the pandemic and stuff like that. That one I enjoyed a lot. I like Hannibal Buress a lot too. He's very funny.
I don't find him funny at all.
I find him very funny. But I like Z-Way is probably one of my favorites. But she doesn't have like a stand up. She just has her show.
I don't like her. Like
I love her.
she comes on Watch What Happens Live often. She is
Oh,
not
I
funny.
haven't seen that. I haven't
Yeah.
seen her on Watch What Happens Live. I've just seen her show.
Okay. Yeah, like she comes on there to promote the show, and I don't
Mhm.
like her on there. And yeah, that I have zero interest in watching her show.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
She's the way she interviews people and lets them just kind of hang themselves with their own rope.
Yeah.
I love it. The way she has them on the ropes and like being feeling nervous. It's great.
Uh, yeah. So was she
The
a
way
stand?
she, I don't think so. I don't know. I like again. I hadn't seen anything of her stand up. I just seen her before she had her show on Instagram. I saw that she had her little thing on Instagram. It's basically like what she's doing now, only expanded on Showtime.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah,
So
because
on
I
Instagram, she was interviewing like white and non-black people, um, and asking them like questions and making them nervous and stuff like that.
mm-hmm.
Um, but it's expanded on Showtime, and then also like I like Deezus and Mero, but they're not stand up, right?
Yeah, they're
So
not stand up.
mhm.
Yeah, I remember them from when they was on Twitter.
Yeah, hmm
So and like the show on Vice, it was cool on Vice, but it just seems like when they went to Showtime, it kind of got watered down.
you think so?
Yeah, yeah, because I tried to watch it on Showtime and I just was like,
Hmm
yeah, but it just seems like it was better when it was on Vice.
mm
But
You feel like it was more real on Vice,
yeah,
less polished.
yeah,
Hmm
yeah. It seems
I can
like
see that.
yeah, it seems like with Showtime they kind of watered it down. I was like, you know what? This is where I'll end. I'll end. So, but yeah, like I said, I've watched this so many times that I don't even laugh anymore. And like I can say the stuff with
You can
him,
probably say it line for line, right? Exactly. You know the stand up.
right? Because that I've watched it so freaking many times. Um, and then and like with his other one, Run Tell That,
Hmm
I remember watching that so many times, and then I didn't watch it for a while, and then I watched it randomly, and there was something that I didn't laugh at none of the other times that I picked up on that one particular time, and I was in tears because I was laughing so hard. And it was just something really silly that he did, and I was laughing so hard. And I like stuff like that where you can just
hmm
randomly pick up on something that you never picked up on before and just laugh
hmm
ridiculously. And it's so funny because sometimes that's how the show Martin is. Like when you watch it, especially like now, like 30 years later, you watch an episode and you're like busting a gut laughing because his stuff is like, it just seems like it's timeless. Like
Yeah, and then
some,
a lot of things you're like, oh, I get that now. Like I get that joke now.
yeah, it's a lot of stuff because we were kids that went over our head that you pick up on now. You like, dang, they said that on TV,
I know.
you know. So, but like I remember, I know this isn't about the TV show, but I remember an episode of Martin where they was in the train station because they were going to visit Gina's parents for Christmas,
Mhm.
and they were the bus was delayed, so they were stuck in the train station, and they needed coins. And the guy that worked there, he was being a butthole to everybody, and so they tried to get coin. I think Martin tried to get coins from him, and he wouldn't give them. So Gina went up to the glass to try to get coins, and she acted like she couldn't really hear him, so he can get close to the glass. So when he got close enough to the glass, she reached in and she grabbed his tie and started banging his head on the glass. And so then he started throwing the coins out over the glass. So Martin and Miss Jerry started going back and forth to catch the coins, and they rolling on the floor trying to get these coins off the floor. It was the funniest scene ever because Martin did not care. Like he didn't care, man, woman.
Yeah, I mean, if you're doing like some kind of slapstick like that, you have to be fully committed. You cannot care what anybody thinks,
Yes,
or it's not gonna work.
absolutely. And like, and him and this old lady, they are rolling on the floor. I watched that and still laugh. And I have seen that episode a million times, but I
Now,
watched it still laugh.
what's her name? Plays Gina.
Tisha Campbell.
Tisha Campbell. Tisha Campbell was also in this movie called Blind Spotting, which is like one of my favorite movies. And
Mhm.
she has this incredible scene in a hair salon, and she is
Yeah,
just still so funny.
yeah, that is a really good scene. You know, Tisha Campbell is a really good actress. I think my problem with her is sometimes she overacts.
Mm.
It's just like, ugh. If we would just dial it down just
Or
one,
pull it back
maybe
a little bit.
right, you know. So, like, yeah, she's extra as hell. But but yeah. So but yeah, but that's Martin. I mean, he talks about a lot of things. He talks about a lot of things.
He does.
But I
Yes.
definitely loved it.
Mhm.
So we have our rating system. We have one movie reel that's trash AF. Two, it exists. Three, entertaining. Four, great. Five, a true classic. So
Mhm.
Maria, what say you?
I would give it a 2, to be honest with you.
A two.
Yeah, it exists.
Yes.
It didn't make me feel any kind of way, right? So I didn't necessarily hate it, but I also didn't enjoy it.
So what was the couple of things that you did enjoy?
Pretty much that skit about the woman wanted to hang out with her man, the way he told that story. I found that
Uh,
one funny.
so was
But
that the only thing through the whole?
yeah, that was like really funny for me. That was it.
Yeah. So were you watching it like, why the heck did she pick this?
No, I mean, I figure you picked it because you loved it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, that didn't surprise me. But also, it's like I know like my taste in comedy is pretty specific, so
Hmm.
I don't always find things funny that other people find funny, which is fine because there's the reason why there's so many different styles of comedy and comedians and stuff. So,
Right, right,
but I
right.
was hoping I would because I remember, like I said, enjoying the show, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Like this is a totally different Martin Lawrence from the show.
yeah.
So
Hmm.
um yeah, but when you look at this and you try to compare it to the show, you can tell that the show was very watered down.
Hmm.
He had a whole lot of control, but still, it was network television in the 90s.
Yeah. And the thing about like sitcoms is like they're joke machines, so they're
Mhm.
gonna have probably like 5 times, 10 times more jokes than maybe a stand up will because they have to by the way that
Right.
they move, you know.
Right.
Um, but yeah, for me it was just like,
Yeah. Well, my
I'm
vote is
just glad I didn't hate it. To be honest,
didn't hate it either. That would have broke my heart if he did. Like, oh, like I'm trying something different.
yeah, okay, and that's fine. I'm down to try something different. So
Yeah, yeah. It's yeah. My vote is something totally different. It's a 4 for me. Uh, Probably because I do remember laughing my ass off in the beginning,
mhm,
and then
mhm,
I've watched it so many times, and you know, nostalgia, and it's so many quotable moments. It's still things that we say to this day,
mhm.
from this stand up. So uh, yeah, the it has lasted, you know, and it is talked about as one of the greats. So um,
I mean, because he was at the top of his game at the time. So
yes, yes, that he was.
mhm,
That
mhm,
definitely he was. Um, you know, and then he elevated since then. You know what I'm saying? Because like with the with the other stand up that he put out, Run Tell that was
mhm.
I want to say that was in 2002 when that came out. I could totally be wrong on the year. It's like 2002 or 2003. With that one, he got more personal
Mhm.
um with his stand up. Like that was cuz you know like between the show and the stuff that happened to him after the show.
Yeah, I did watch like a brief video. They were like, "Why?" They were basically like, what is Martin up to? Like, why isn't he as famous as some of his other contemporaries at the time?" And they were talking about like how he had gotten heat stroke and was in a coma for a while and like all this other stuff. And I was like, oh my goodness, like
Yeah, like
his battles with substance addiction, like.
yeah, he had a mental break and whatnot.
Hmm.
And you know, like back then, we didn't have social media.
Yeah.
So we had like the blogs was like the newspapers that are available right at the checkout counter at the grocery store. And then you
Hmm.
had like shows like Extra and Entertainment Tonight and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So those were the things that were fueling the rumor mill and whatnot. And then like your
Hmm.
local radio station and stuff, they would tell you things here and there and whatnot.
Hmm.
But yeah, so it was like a lot of stuff that we heard, but we didn't necessarily hear from him. He didn't do no Diane Sawyer interview or anything like that.
Right. With the
Happened.
soft focus or.
Right, right. So Run Tell That was basically him telling everybody what happened. And that did come out in 2002. But yeah, like and it was kind of like how Kevin Hart did Laugh in My Pain.
Hmm.
You know, he turned these serious series of events into into his stand up, you know, and he told these events funny, like you laughed at it. It was hilarious, but it was what happened, and he was honest about the things that were happening, you know, because a lot of stuff happened. A lot of stuff happened towards the
Yeah.
end and after Martin. So and it was some stuff that was just so outrageous you just knew it was just a rumor, and then when he like confirmed it in the stand-up you're like damn that really happened.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, but he told it, and Run Tell That. So and that's the part that's dope about Run Tell That because it was honest and it was from him, you know what I'm saying? So things that you heard, I mean, he cleared up, and if it didn't happen he didn't talk about it. So
No, that's cool. That's interesting. Yeah.
yeah, so um yeah, and he wasn't as like silly as he is in Run So That. I mean in You So Crazy. And I'm assuming that's because he's talking about some real stuff. So
Yeah, I can imagine.
yeah, yeah. So I know this wasn't something that you just like 100% was gung ho about, but Run Tell That it's I would watch it if I were you. Like
Yeah.
it's good. So
Okay.
but but yeah, that was You So Crazy.
Yes.
Um so what um what do you what do you suggest we watch next week?
I was going to suggest the movie Fallen, starring Denzel Washington. Have you ever seen that before?
No.
Oh, that's a really good movie. It's kind of rare in the things that it does with the storytelling,
Okay.
particularly with Denzel Washington. Even though it came out in 1998, yeah, so he was definitely, a big star by then.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I thought it was really interesting. It's on let's see, it's on Amazon. It looks like. But I also got a list of like 80s movies. People were saying like, how many of these have you seen?
Mm-hmm.
And I had seen 12, and there are more than 30 movies on here.
Oh wow.
So we can take a look at that, right?
Okay.
So have you seen The Terminator?
Mm-hmm.
Not Terminator 2, but Terminator.
Yeah, I've seen all of them.
Okay, all right. So we'll go through this list and see like which ones we have and haven't seen. But for
Okay.
next week, I think we should go for Fallen.
Fallen. Okay. And you said
Hmm.
that's on Prime.
Yes, that's on Amazon Prime. It's starring Denzel Washington.
Uh,
It's a little bit of a supernatural movie, but it's not a horror film.
okay.
I know how you feel about that. So
Yes. I'm like, no. Yeah, we can do Fallen.
all right.
All right. So, oh, was it a book?
It maybe lots of movies were books, so
Yeah.
maybe.
Okay. So yeah. So next week we will. Oh, it's on Stars too. Okay, that'll work.
Okay.
That will work. So yeah. So next week we will do Fallen, starring Denzel Washington, and they've been playing it on Encore too.
Hmm.
Huh. Who else stars in Fallen?
Well, of course, Denzel's a big draw, but you get John Goodman, Donald Sutherland is in it as well. James Gandolfini is in it. But yeah,
Oh, okay, okay. Is this the one where the person was uh singing a song or something, and people were like
there's
talking or singing the song with him when he would walk past them and stuff?
yes. So you have seen it then.
I've seen no, I haven't seen it. I saw that on the
Oh,
trailer. I remember that on the trailer.
oh, wow, really? Okay, wow, yeah.
Yeah, because I remember that because that was creepy. All right.
It's not a horror film, I promise.
Okay.
It is creepy, but it's not horror.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm down for it.
All right.
All right. So where can they find you?
Oh, well, you can find me on Instagram and on Twitter at Valar More Dollars. That's VALARMOR dollars. Also, do a podcast called Nerdgasm War. It's five Black women talking about geeky things. So you can come join us there as well. Where can I find you, Lindsay?
Well, you can find me on all social media at L underscore Renell. That's L underscore RANELLE. I also have another podcast as well called The Ish We Talk. And that's me, my cousin, my friend talking about hot topics, hot debates, and stuff like that. Um, yeah, like this past week, we talked about that viral video with the baby daddy and the baby mama going back and
Not the
forth.
McDonald's.
Yes, the McDonald's. We talked about that.
Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
yeah. Yeah, so yeah, we hit that one up. Of course, everybody did. Everybody did. So
Yeah.
why not? You know, that was a hot debate this past
It
week.
really was. Come to
Yeah.
find out, she's a TikToker.
Yeah. So, how did people come to the conclusion that that was fake? Because I saw
They
her.
went to her page. They went to her page and like watched the rest of her videos.
Okay.
And they were like, she doesn't mention any other children. She mentions like her one son all the time, but
Hmm.
she doesn't mention any other kids or any other baby daddy drama or anything. So it was a skit.
Okay. Because that's what
That's
I
what.
was confused about. I was just like, they keep saying it's fake, but I only see this response video.
Right.
So, yeah. Okay.
I mean, she got something to go viral, so you got to build on that. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Because literally everybody talked about that this week. So, like,
Hmm.
they was debating it on the Breakfast Club. That's how bad it
I
was.
believe it. Oh God, the Breakfast Club's so messy. So yeah, I
Boy.
believe it.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's that. So until next time, we will see you guys later. Bye.
Bye.